Well, we're back tonight after a hard-fought battle with the flu. Point RFK. I got my shot, what can I say? Over the past week, Americans' political focus truly shifted to themselves as Donald Trump continued to shop for land in the future Crimea Lago. Now, Europe this week has become the backseat driver from hell for the president and his team. I'm Colin Moore. Leaders of the EU already pledged to financially back Ukraine for the next 2 years, but now a, quote, new momentum is being championed. This comes as Donald Trump has ratcheted up the heat on Ukraine to end the conflict they didn't even begin in the first place. Following a fairly empty Thanksgiving ultimatum delivered by the Trump administration, a more than 20-point peace plan was proposed, essentially conceding on every single Russian demand. On paper. And the news. And in all of Ukraine, this might seem like a massive betrayal from one of Ukraine's most crucial allies, but, I mean, come on. You really thought Donald Trump was eventually going to back Russia under the guise of peace? I want to take a minute to tell you about our newest sponsor, the Bolshevik Watch Company. I'm wearing the Lenin right now. There's also the Marks and the stunning Lady Bolshevik. Remember, Bolshevik watches. Time to revolt. Many of the terms of this tentative arrangement are entirely unclear. The U.S. continues to say too much without proper information. The Ukrainians continue to say just enough to maintain funding and their lives. And the Russians have said, well, shocker, nothing. What's clear right now, after a second day of talks between several countries, is that this initial deal wasn't in any way fair to the Ukrainians. They continued to insist that they will not give up any of their land. And they still would like to join NATO, which Russia, of course, vehemently opposes. President Trump has remained quite unclear on whether or not he believes Ukraine should give up land at this point. But given his threats, which do include the immediate suspension of U.S. intelligence and missile supplies, Ukraine might not have much of an option, even with the help of European allies. An alternative to NATO that has been suggested would be for Ukraine to remain out of it altogether and be able to join the EU, effectively standardizing their currency with the rest of Europe while maintaining and even enhancing trade and transport for Ukrainian citizens. But it's still unclear whether or not Russia would even allow this move, considering their current opposition to a potential NATO seat. President Zelensky has announced that Ukraine is open to accepting many aspects of a peace plan, while smaller details remain to be set in stone. Now, after President Trump said he wouldn't meet with either Zelensky or Putin until a deal was in its final stages, the Ukrainian leader is hoping to meet with Trump in the U.S. in the coming days as this Thanksgiving deadline approaches. One thing is clear. Outside of President Trump, who continues to dodge questions of borders for the first time in his life, the rest of the world has made it clear that appeasement cannot be an option. This is flat out deja vu to the college graduate who's currently sitting in a beautiful suit in a basement because he majored in history, life decisions. We're not even 100 years removed from something we thought the people in charge would never forget. Step into my corner. So back in 1936, Germany has a little tryst with the Rhineland, a rich industrial region that Europe said no to, but then Hitler said, screw you, and took it anyways. So Europe said, okay, you got us, fool me once. Little did they know just how much Adolf wanted his little industry. Now, don't think because I started the lesson here, this is where it began. No. The dum-dums that let them take that land had already let them repeatedly violate that all-important Treaty of Versailles. Ever heard of that one? The one that ended the Great War with German demilitarization and the ceding of land while signing off on the guilt clause, accepting sole responsibility for the beginning of World War I? Yeah, that one. These same dum-dums allowed them to start building a navy again because, well, they just love to go splish-splash. But here's the thing. Hitler and the Third Reich knew that no one was going to do anything. So they just kept testing the waters, winning, and moving onward, until it reached a point where millions of people were killed because it was too late to prevent bloodshed without more appeasement. Enter Russia. The League of Nations, that so inadequately handled German aggression in the 1930s, is now mirroring a United Nations, EU, NATO, and Council of bullshitted whatever. They're doing nothing. They've allowed hundreds of thousands of people to be killed despite claiming to have this council of wisdom and sovereignty. So what's it good for? This was Colin's Corner. I think we may have some answers this week. Is U.S. international power simply too strong as a result of the Second World War? And what can anyone else do about it? Again, I'm Colin Moore, and you've been watching Release the Factions. Please please like and subscribe. Hit it in the bottom right there. Have a good night.
Hey, pretty much stupid, dude. I don't even know.